Hello and welcome back. I am back out here on the range. I've got an assorted selection of 1022 rifles and a pistol by Ruger I'm going to be shooting today, and I've got a couple of different 22 long rifle ammunition. Each firearm I'm going to be shooting 10 rounds each of each one of the different types of ammunition. Up first, I've got a Ruger Talo edition. It's got a 20-inch medium heavy tapered barrel that is threaded at the end. It's got a Hogue overmolded stock. On it I've got a Leopold 20 MOA Picatinny base and a primary arms 4-16 optic with the Arc 2 reticle. I'm going to be shooting first Auto Match by Federal, 10 rounds. That is 10 rounds of Federal Auto Match. The Auto Match is a 40 grain solid projectile out of the 22 long rifle. I'm not sure if they have any velocity on the box. Yep, 40 grain. They got muzzle velocity at 1,200 feet per second. Let's go down, take a look at the target, and see how it did. As you can see, at 50 yards, I have a stringing pattern of around a little over an inch. Now that's 10 rounds in there, and that is, as I mentioned, just a little over an inch. Some of that is most likely me shooting at 50 yards here. That is the Federal Auto Match. I've got 10 rounds loaded up of Aguila 22 long rifle in their Super Extra. It is a 38 grain copper jacketed hollow point, and they've got an advertised velocity of 1,280 feet per second. Let's go ahead and shoot 10 rounds at my target. We'll go down and we'll see what it looks like. Ten rounds of the Aguila Super Extra 38 grain copper jacketed hollow point, which they have advertised at 1,280 for velocity. Let's go down, take a look at the target, and we'll see how we did. This is the 10 round group that was shot with the Super Extra by Aguila. That is a 38 grain jacketed hollow point. It's got a copper jacket, and the velocity is 1,280 feet per second. You can see I've got a good group right in there with 3 little flyers. That was probably me for sure, but I had a really good 7-round group going here. So I'd say all in all, it's still going to be about a 1 inch at 50 yards. So you're translating roughly to about a 2 MOA at 100, but most of your 22 long rifles, you're going to be shooting at a distance between 25 and 50 yards. 75 will be like the absolute maximum. So I'd say a 1-inch group at 50 is doing pretty good for something that's not really a full target rifle configuration. So let's jump off to the next Aguila round and see how that does. Next, I am going to be shooting a Aguila 40 grain copper jacketed hollow point. This is the interceptor round in the 22 long rifle, and it has a advertised velocity of 1,470 feet per second. So you're going to be looking at almost 200 feet per second faster than the Super Extra. So I am pleasantly surprised by the accuracy of that interceptor round. Down here was the 9 rounds of the Super Extra. There was 1 round up here, so that means there are 7 rounds in this tight little cluster, and then these 3 flyers, which for a combined total of 10 rounds in this, you're looking at a little under an inch, which is very impressive. That group there, you're looking at well under half an inch. So that will definitely be a useful round for small game hunting. Plus, with the increase in velocity, is going to be a little bit more energy on target with that 40 grain copper jacketed bullet at 1,470 feet per second for an advertised velocity. Now, of course, the 20-inch barrel I'm shooting it out of is probably shooting a lower velocity than that, but I am impressed to see that it is still holding a very tight group. Usually the higher velocity you go up to with the 1 in 16 or 1 in 14 twist, I can't remember what the 22 long rifles typically have, you're going to usually see a larger dispersion of your shot placement, which I am not seeing it on this. I'm going to go ahead and go into the super maximum and see how that round shoots. That is quite a bit faster than what the interceptor is. I've got 10 rounds loaded up of the Super Maximum 22 long rifle by Aguila. The Super Maximum is a 30 grain jacketed hollow point, and this is got an advertised velocity of 1,700 feet per second. This has been one of the fastest 22 long rifles I have been able to find. I'm going to shoot 10 rounds of it through the Ruger 1022 here. This is the Talo Custom Edition. Now, the other thing I have not mentioned is the trigger that came in this rifle is the BX trigger by Ruger, which is more of a match style trigger that has a 3.5 pound pull, so it is a lot nicer pull than your standard 1022 trigger. Ten rounds, and I'm already looking through the scope, and I'm seeing that this is going to be a totally different style of group from what we've seen with the rest of the Aguila. I think we found the round that this 1022 does not like. Let's go down and take a look. Okay, we're going to go back to that Super Maximum, and you can see these rounds are impacting everywhere. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Looks like there's some other ones that possibly impacted up there. I mean, as I mentioned, I think we finally found the one Aguila round so far that 1022 does not like at all. I would definitely not be using the Super Maximum for any kind of small game hunting. Right now, it's an excellent just kind of a novelty, but I do have 2 other 1022s to try out, and I am interested in the next one, if it's going to be any better. I guess we'll have to stick around and find out. Up next is my 1022, the anniversary model. Now this one was to commemorate, I believe, the 75th anniversary of the 1022. It came from factory with a stainless steel 18.5-inch barrel that is threaded and has a flash hider installed. It comes installed with a Picatinny rail and a ghost ring sight. I added an aftermarket oversized anodized red charging handle to it. It's got a BX trigger in it. Now, as I mentioned before, this has got the red trigger. This is a 3.5-pound trigger. It was not supposed to come with the BX trigger, but I think some of them maybe left Ruger's factory with the BX triggers installed because they saw the red triggers and that's what they put in them. Now, it also has a different magazine you'll see after I get done shooting my 10 rounds here. I've got it loaded up with 10 rounds of Auto Match by Federal. That is a 40 grain solid lead bullet with no jacket on it. That again is at, what did I say before, 12,000 some feet per second? It's on here somewhere. Yep. 1,200 I should say, 1,200 feet per second. Let's go ahead and shoot 10 rounds of it. It also has this nice looking gray Magpul stock that came on it. I do say I do like the ergonomics on it. The buttstock is adjustable for link to pull, and you can get a spacer system that goes on the top. If you put an optic on it, you'll actually get the proper cheek rest. Now you're naturally going to see a larger group just because it is a ghost ring sight and there is no real precision to these per se. All you got to do is push it forward. It will drop the magazine right out. The gun is clear. All 10 rounds fired without an issue. Let's go down, take a look at the target, and we'll see what kind of a group we got with these ghost ring sights. As I said, obviously these are iron sights, so there is no magnification. I just hope I didn't miss the target. So the Federal Auto Match shot fairly decent for a open sight. The iron sights on that rifle do cover up, I'd say, a little over 2 inches for sure from that point to that point, if not almost 4 inches. I mean, you can see just the outer outline of this target here when you're looking down the sights. This is at 50 yards. You're looking at a little over a 2-inch group here. Again, that is open sights, or iron sights as they would say. So I'd say all in all that isn't too bad because it's still within that front sight post. I am a little bit off to the right hand side here. I did have a little bit of an issue with that rifle here about a couple weeks ago. I was shooting at some gophers in the front yard, missing them way off to the right hand side, and I found out that one of my screws that holds that rear sight in was completely loose, so it was a lot of walking adjustment back and forth when I was shooting and didn't even realize. Just kind of goes to show that always make sure your screws are tight when you're going to be doing any shooting. Up next is the Aguila Super Extra. Now the Super Extra, as I mentioned with the previous Ruger, is that 38 grain jacketed hollow point with an advertised velocity of 1,280 feet per second. Around 80 feet per second faster than the Auto Match by Federal. The only big addition is this is a copper jacketed hollow point, so for hunting it should be a lot better. Going to go ahead, shoot 10 rounds at my target down there, and see what kind of a group we get with these iron sights on this Ruger anniversary model. Okay, that is 10 rounds. Upon further examination, I did notice that the front sight is the same width as that entire diamond that's on that target. So what I'm doing is I'm basically putting the entire blade of the front sight and sandwiching it in between the two horizontal posts that are coming out on either side of that target, and trying to keep the front sight post somewhat aligned in the middle of those. So I mean, that's going to be looking at 4 inches, and total width is what this front sight is at 50 yards. Let's go down, take a look at the target, and we're going to see how the Super Extra performs out of the anniversary Ruger 10/22. I think the old Ruger anniversary model there looks like it prefers the auto match over that Super Extra. Here you can see the group right there. It is pretty much in line with what the that auto match is, so it is kind of good to know that I can switch in between those 2 rounds when I get that rifle actually sighted in, and I'll be pretty much right on what I need to be when I'm shooting, and I don't have to worry about one round impacting drastically different than the other one. It is a good piece of information to know when you have multiple varieties of ammunition. I am not going to bother shooting the interceptor or the super maximum out of that rifle, because with those iron sights it's just not precise enough. Next up, I'm going to go to the 10/22 pistol I have. Last up today is my 10/22 Charger. Now this is the only firearm that I use a single point sling on, just because of the overall length of it. This has a 10.5-inch barrel on it. You can see, compared to a 1-liter bottle of soda, it is roughly twice the size of this liter bottle. Now this is the standard 10/22 Charger with the 10.5-inch threaded barrel. I removed the original Ruger chassis to it, and I installed a SB Tactical chassis. This gives you 2M lock on either side up front, and then a 2 set on the bottom. First up, we're going to be shooting the auto match. Now the nice thing is, with my red dot, it is a Sightmark MRS solar powered red dot, and it has around a 3 MOA dot. Now the problem is with this red dot, with it being a solar failsafe, I cannot turn down the brightness of the dot. But what you can do is use your lens cap to actually cover a portion of the solar panel, so there is not as much ambient light energy going into it to control how bright that dot is. Okay, 10 rounds of the 40 grain auto match. Guess it helps if I probably... Nope. Of course, I installed a oversized charging handle on this firearm as well. Okay, that's 10 rounds. Now, about the only thing that I don't like about this setup is this folding mechanism for the actual rear brace here. This is an A3 folding mechanism by A3 Tactical, I believe it is. This is their own aluminum strut and their little tail hook assembly for the arm brace. This is not an easy folding mechanism to manipulate. You really have to. I can't even get it to work. There we go. So it is definitely probably about the biggest regret I have of this package is this folding mechanism. I'm gonna see if A3 Tactical has a new version out now, which is like a push button. I would be interested in getting that. Plus, I am not too thrilled as to how big this is on the back of the platform. I do like the fact that when it is folded, you can actually fire this without any issue. But it is a nice compact package. It is relatively solid, but it is just really not easy in order to get that to break. I can't even do it, not without using my body. And even then, it's hard to get the thing to go together. So I guess let's go down, take a look at the target, and see what it looks like when we're firing through a red dot rather than just using an iron sight. That might stay there. You can see the substantial difference that a red dot will give you when using for a non-magnified sight rather than just using iron sights. This is a 10-round group here, and that 10-round group is easily half as big as what my 20 rounds here spread between two types of ammunition. I'm going to go ahead and load the charger up with 10 rounds of Aguila Super Extra, and we're going to see how it does group from there and see if it's going to open that group up or if it's going to pretty much stay the same. Hopefully we're going to have about the same impact. Let's go take a look. I'm going to go ahead and fire 10 rounds of the Aguila Super Extra, the 38 grain jacketed hollow point, which has an advertised velocity of 1,280 feet per second. We're going to see if it has about the same impact as what that 40 grain auto match did by Federal out of this 10.5-inch Ruger Charger. Okay, that is 10 rounds. So far, of the 3 firearms I've had out of here today from Ruger, there have not been any malfunctions out of any of them. Let's go ahead, go down to the target, take a look at it, see how we did. Looks like it's just starting to rain, so the storm just finally got here. As you can see, I've got a little bit larger group here than what I was anticipating. Definitely that Aguila is running a little bit hotter, and it did open up that group just a little bit bigger than what that auto match is. I'd say all in all, it's probably not much larger group than what that auto match, just a little bit higher up because of it being a faster velocity. Unfortunately, I ran out of targets, so I couldn't use a fresh target to really see what the two groups is going to be side by side. But I'd say that auto match probably is going to shoot just about as good as what the Aguila, the Super Extra, does. And I will be using that primarily for my squirrel hunting, so it is nice to know that I do have an option to use that's going to be a copper jacketed hollow point. That's going to give me a little bit better expansion when shooting small game such as squirrel that I do quite a bit of hunting for this time of year. So I will be testing that out on some little tree rats here probably tomorrow, or definitely coming up throughout the next couple weeks. So I may be doing an update to kind of let you know how that's going, and maybe shoot some of that other stuff through it just to see how it likes that higher velocity stuff. So it's starting to rain now, so I think I'm going to close up my video and go to editing. I guess I will see you in my next video.